Hey, it's Anna Jarman, posting blog 5 about leadership. So to answer the first question, what have I learned about my own ability to demonstrate management skills of communication, delegation, and motivation? I actually enjoyed kind of this lesson going over some of the philosophies and perspectives about leadership, especially when it came to motivation. I didn't really know that there were titles or formal terms for some of the types of motivation that we use. And I think we're always trying to motivate others when we are leading. So, like I said, positive motivation to me is a lot more effective than negative motivation. Sadly, I've seen both kinds in formal management roles. I always try to be positive, but I thought it was interesting to learn that there again was actually a term or a title for the types. I already think that I possess a lot of the abilities to lead and manage. I have pretty good communication skills, but could certainly try harder to be better at active listening. In the facility where I've worked the majority of my career, I'm usually in charge. So you have to, or that is a leadership role, you have to have some good leadership skills to do that job effectively. And now where I'm working, I'm in a high volume, high acuity facility, so delegation is crucial. Um, but I think that motivating others is just as important as delegating. Sometimes you can get further with getting assistance with things when you're motivational instead of having to delegate specific tasks out. So how would I use the skills that we've learned about to manage and lead an interdisciplinary team? Well, again, when you work in nursing, you're already a member of a multidisciplinary team, and you're responsible, I think, a lot of times as a manager for your patient's care, even if you're not a formal case manager. So it's important if you're part of an interdisciplinary team and you're trying to take on a leadership role to remind the others in your group of the important goals and outcomes for your patient or your department even. Um, Delegating tasks to others is crucial when you're in a leadership or management role. It's not possible for one person to do everything, so you also have to delegate them to people you trust and let the person know that you trust them to complete it and that they're appreciated, which goes into the next point I would make is that it's important, going back to that positive motivation, to praise work that's well done. Of course, when something is not being done to par, it's important to address it, but you also have to do it in an emotionally intelligent manner. But again, I think it's important to be positive and praise people when work's well done. I try to do that with my own children instead of fussing at my son per se when he leaves dirty laundry on the floor. Say, when he does pick it up, gosh, thanks, that bathroom looks so much better without your dirty laundry on the floor. So, praising them and being positive instead of being negative and nagging. Um, to reflect about my own emotional intelligence, to me, emotional intelligence has taken a long time to get to my present state. But it's important to learn not to take things personally. To me, in reading about emotional intelligence, I think emotional intelligence almost equals maturity. You have to, and I think I've probably said this in one of these posts before, learn to respond to things, not to react to things. Whenever a situation, a conflict, even a request, you need to learn how to respond to it, not react to it. Express your needs in those situations through good communication, and by not taking things personally, you have to use empathy, try to understand the perspective that the person is coming from prior to being offended or again reacting. So, um, sadly, I have seen some people in formal management leadership roles that don't have emotional intelligence, but almost to the point that they lack maturity. I could give an example of a time that I tried to call a report on a patient to a floor. The nurse in the background was kind of freaking out. I can't take another patient right now. Just long story short, just really being inappropriate. I could hear in the background. So they put me on hold. When the nurse picks up the phone to take report, it was actually that unit's nurse manager who was filling in because they were short that day. So try to understand where she was coming from. Like her perspective before was crazy. They get another patient. She's not able to be the manager that day. She's actually having to be a staff nurse. But what a bad example she was setting for the rest of her staff, and the way that she was handling her level of stress. And I don't think that was mature or emotionally intelligent. But maybe I'm confusing emotional intelligence and didn't quite get the lesson. But to me, it just really sang with maturity. So, what are my strengths and weaknesses in these areas, and my plan to continue to develop in these areas? Overall, I think I'm a decent leader. I have a lot of experience in leadership roles, at least 10 years of charge experience, and took a lot of leadership classes, lots of seminars. However, I think the videos that we watched about communication and active listening taught me a lot. I definitely have room for improvement. I do find myself interrupting to interject when really I should allow the person to finish their thoughts and finish speaking. I also do find myself creating a response or a rebuttal, like internally, like a dialogue in my head prior to the person actually finishing what they're trying to tell me. So if you're doing that, you're not really listening to the person. If you're having an internal dialogue with yourself, trying to prepare your answer for when there's a call. So I definitely have room to improve in that area. There were actually a lot of videos on the list. I know we only had to watch like 4 or 5 of them, but there's one about procrastination that I want to go back and watch also. But as far as continuing to develop in these areas, I think I'm going to watch these videos again. And they said there was more information in some of the like written articles. So I'm going to see if there's any more pointers I can get out of those. So overall, I enjoyed this lesson. So I learned a lot about myself. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye.